Anti-Semitism, hatred is all over the streets. Look what's happening in Paris, look what's happening in London, and look what's happening in the streets of America. Where does hate and anti-Semitism come from? Today, I will give you our answer. This is the Rabbi Mentz Show, and if you like my show, please subscribe so you can get all of my other takes on what's happening in the news. My dear friends, this is what happened yesterday in Paris. Look at what's going on here. Mobs of people, mobs, that the police had to come in, tear gas, and they had to go and arrest many people. Why? Filled with hate. Where does this hate come from? Where does anti-Semitism come from? And in London, there was a whole crew of people marching through the streets, and a few local Londoners are trying to defend their streets, and there was almost a clash. Thank God it didn't turn into something terrible. But the hate has come to the streets of America, not just in protesting. As we all know, Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, they both were gunned down in D.C. What is happening? Where is the anti-Semitism come from? Where does hate come from? My dear friends, the first thing we must understand is the question is even bigger. When we recognize that God created you, me, and them in His image, that means we're created pretty good. What happened? What happened as we were growing? That there are people that can be filled with rage and filled with hate, that they will literally go and just search out anywhere, a Jew, or even go into the Western cities and say like this, "You, I hate you." Why? Where did this come from? The Talmud tells us about the story of Purim. Purim is about how a wicked Haman went to the king Achashverosh and said, "I want to kill out all the Jews around the world." And they described these two people as people that have a certain problem. One has a big mound of dirt in his yard, doesn't know what to do with it. He hates the mound of dirt. The other one has a big ditch. He hates the ditch, that it's an empty thing in his yard. So what do? One goes over to the other one and says, "Listen, I'll buy the dirt from you, and I will put it into my ditch, and we're both happy." The guy who owns the dirt says, "I don't need your money. Just get the dirt out, and I'll be happy." This is how anti-Semitism is all about. This is how hatred comes about. There are individuals that when they see something, they look at you as, "What are you doing here? What are you doing in my country? What are you doing in my place? You don't look like you fit in. You don't look like you belong." By the way, this can happen to Jewish people. This can happen to people that come from the Far East. This can even come from people that their skin color is black. What are you doing here? I don't like seeing you in my place. I have a mound of dirt. Then there's another person. He feels empty inside. There's a hole in me. So these two concepts could be found in one person. You can go and look at somebody and say, "What are you doing here? I don't want your type in my country." On the other hand, what I really don't like about you is you make me feel unworthy. What happens is I see you and I hate you. And my emptiness, what do? We start creating reasons. You know what? You're bad. I'll make up a reason. I'll make it up, whatever it is. You know what? I will go and say, like many of the people did in Poland, they created a story about the Jews. I don't like the Jews. And what they do, they made up a story. What was the story? The Jewish people kill Christian babies and put the blood in their matzah before Passover. What? Kill a baby? Blood? We're not allowed to eat blood. We're not allowed to have anything but flour and water in the matzah. Who cares? I have to create a lie so everybody around recognizes you're subhuman, you're evil. Because in my eyes, you're really better than me. But I have to make myself feel good. That's how all hate begins. This is how all anti-anything begins. It's a story, and we dehumanize the group. The Jewish people have always been dehumanized no matter where we are. You're right, we do look different. We have the yarmulke, we have the beard, we have the tzitzis. You're right, we do look different. What are you doing in my country? What are you doing in my city? Other people will feel an emptiness in their life. Look at the Jewish person. They became a doctor, they became a lawyer, they became a rabbi, they're learning, they have a beautiful family, I'm a broken family, whatever it is. I have to dehumanize you. And that's exactly what Hitler did in Germany. He wanted to make everybody hate the Jew to make it feel good, gather them up to go kill them. He dehumanized us. And this, my dear friends, is exactly where it has happened in Israel today. Today in Israel, the Jewish people are very, very prosperous. Nobody's stopping people from making a good living. Proof, there are over 2 million Arabs living in Israel, and they're doing pretty good. But the people that are living on the side, and they're poor under other regimes, other governments, and the way they oppress them, etc., we have to go and say, the Jew, they are the bad ones. They're stopping you from they're making a blockade. Well, we didn't make a blockade. You shoot missiles at us. You're bringing in bombers into our country. You made your people live in what we call, a bordered or a jail situation. But we got to blame the Jew. Don't tell the other side. Don't tell them the truth. Make the Jew the evil one. And people, unfortunately, kids are brought up today watching TV. There's not much of a purpose that they have in life. What are you waking up for? You go to school, what am I getting an education for? For what? I can just go to the streets and make money doing this and doing that. But I'm saying is kids that grow up without a purpose, that mommy and daddy do not go and say like this, listen why I brought you in the world. I expect you to be something to change the world for better. Become a doctor, become a lawyer, become an entrepreneur, become a musician, become a singer, do something with light, do something that's bright. But when you have masses of people living like in Gaza, controlled by Hamas, they're constantly blaming. You have nothing to live for except for become a soldier and blow yourself up. So the child that does not wake up every single morning and have purpose, meaning to say, I don't have time for this TikTok. I don't have time for all this stuff. I got a purpose in this world. I got to make my life a better place. That person has no time to run through the streets. In fact, when you do wake up, and you wake up with a purpose, all of a sudden, there's no difference between you and me. I need you, you need me. A black person can work with a white person can work with a person from the Far East. It makes no difference. Why? When we're doing a positive thing, it's beautiful. But when we start separating each other, you're this and you're that, we can't bring unity. And in fact, believe it or not, there are many, many Arabs, in fact, even Muslims, that are on great terms with Jewish people. They are on fantastic terms. In fact, they can even dance together. That's right. They can even dance together. Why? Because I see you were created in the image of God. I was created in the image of God. Together we can work together. Together we can be happy. The root of all anti-Semitism and the root of all hate that goes on in the world usually starts when the people are in their teens and the early 20s. Why? Because they never were taught their purpose. They were just said, go to school and get a good mark. But what's my purpose? Why was I brought into this world? Is it just that I can go and just pleasure myself? And that leads to a lot of anger. My dear friends, we got to start working on our children and giving them purpose and start creating the world a better place so that you and I can start dancing together and not have to waste time with all this hatred that is in the streets, that are burning down our streets, breaking our windows, and taking away our wonderful way of life. Life is much better when we're happy. There's no reason for anybody to be in any place at war. This is Rabbi Mentz. Please share this message with others if you enjoy it.